Okay, I know you're not going to believe me, but I'm going to show you one of your superpowers when you combine your chemistry intuition, your chemistry knowledge and expertise with Python. So let's imagine we have data that looks something like this. We have a sample, let's call this sample 1. Let me choose a different color for sample 2, and it looks something like this. It doesn't matter that it's different, and we're just going to call that sample 2. Now, you see what these look like. They're clearly different, but right now we know nothing about them. We know one I drew with blue, one I drew with green, but what is the provenance of these materials? Who owned them? Who analyzed them? What was the method? All of that data, all that information is now separate from this. And in many cases, in large and small organizations and academic labs, the analytical data is stored separately, kept separate from what we're going to call the metadata, the data about the experiment. Now, this is where you can see one of your superpowers. So now we have a blank table. And let's say we have sample 1 and sample 2. Actually, just to be consistent, let me make this green. Let's give that sample 1 and sample 2. We have a sample ID. So let's say we want other information about these materials, such as the batch number. Let's just call that batch no. And these are both batch 1. Okay, well, let's figure out who the analyst is. So we're going to call this analyst. And we have Lee and Patel. So 2 separate samples from the same batch analyzed by different analysts. But also there's other useful information such as the concentration of those materials. So let's say this was a concentration of 3 nanograms per mil. And this one was a concentration of 5 nanograms per mil. We can merge all that experimental data with this metadata. And you can imagine if we had a table full of data, let's say S3 through S sub n, and we have all the batch information, we have a bunch of analysts, we have some known concentrations, whether it's a calibration curve or a QC testing experiment. And throughout all of this, we are tracking all of the analytical data. This is the power, the ability to build these tables efficiently, very quickly, using Python. And this is how we begin to unlock all of the other chemometric, machine learning, deep learning models, or even pass this sort of data to your AI resource in your institution and allow it to perform the analysis for you. If you want to follow along, go to my Python for Analytical Chemist repository, go to Notebooks, Scientific Computing, and we are looking at Notebooks 2.3. And so this idea of keeping your analytical data, your measurement data, your lab data next to or near your metadata is going to be vital for unlocking the other analysis. And so by demonstration, let's look at this Python notebook where we're going to first create a sample table where we have a sample ID, batch, operator, concentration, and absorbance. And this looks like a typical table you might have. And the ability to explore it and activate it, do more with it, is going to be easily enabled using Python. For instance, we can use dtypes to inspect it, and so we can see that we have our sample ID as an object data type, the batch and operator also as object, and then the concentration would be float, which is a floating number point. So we can do numerical analyses. We can preview the table using this .ilog where we're looking at the first 2 rows, or we could use head. We can also apply mathematical operations to the entire table as is being done here. Now, from there, we can start to filter the data. So now that we have this data table, let's say we want to filter by batch. And so we're going to use this Boolean operator there. We're going to set where batch equals B, and then we can use that to just look at the samples where batch equals B. But we can also use other ways to subset our data by combining multiple Boolean operators. So here we're looking where the concentration is greater than 5. Recall concentration was a numerical data type, and where the operator equals Lee. And so we're able to really start to filter these tables because we have the metadata and the measurement data, and start to perform even more aggregations using the group by. Now, I'm going pretty quickly because generating this kind of code is very simple. I really want you to just see what's possible as you think about ways to explore your own data tables when you have the metadata and the measurement data blended together. And so here we're going to group by using the batch, And then I'm going to select the concentration column, and using the .ag method, I'm going to look for the mean, the standard deviation, and the count. And so here we have our batches, so batch A, batch B, and batch C. We're then selecting the concentration and then computing the average concentration for each batch, the standard deviation, and the count. And let's just select the operators column and do value count. So we can see how many rows were produced by Lee and how many were produced by Patel. And we see that there are 4. And so we could do more with this, right? Like this is just looking at the table, all this stuff. It's somewhat straightforward. These are things that you might use Excel for quite easily already, but you can see how we can put that into Python or build this into something like a Streamlit app. But what about how we can visualize this data? And so I'm going to use this list called batches to help me subset the data. And we're going to generate some subplots in which we're going to look at the concentration for each batch. So take some time to break this down, but this is all very reproducible. Just go visit the notebook and explore it some more. But we have 3 batches, batch A, batch B, and batch C. And we can see our concentrations here with the mean concentration showing up with this orange line. And so we can see how these different batches perform next to each other, how spread are the data points within each batch to not only assess the numerical outputs, but also the quality of measurements within each of these materials. So this would be really good for QCing both the materials, but also imagine if you're onboarding a new analyst and you want to see how tight the spread of their measurements are, maybe compared to an expert, ensure the quality is in place. So once you have this table, one of the other benefits is that you can create new columns. You can engineer new features based on the existing rows within the data. Let me show you. So I'm going to have 2 new values called spec high and spec low. And we're going to set spec low to the value of 3 and spec high to the value of 9. And using np.where, numpy.where, I'm going to say if the concentration is below the spec low value, it's going to come back as review. Or if the sample concentration is above spec high, it's going to come back as pass. And so now we're going to look at just those columns in our data frame. If we see with a concentration of 4.8, it comes back as pass. And with the concentration below 3 for sample 07 and sample 08, we see that it needs to be reviewed. And so now we're generating flags automatically. We can also do much more with this analysis. We can pass it on to a multivariate workflow. We can do all sorts of things when you have these kind of tables. But what about more visualization? What, instead of just computing a new column, what if we actually design a figure around this data table? And so here's another way to look at this. What if we actually just illustrate this using a horizontal band where we have our pass region between concentration of 3 mg per liter and 9 mg per liter. And we can see that the first several samples are within this acceptance window. And then we have a few samples that are low. They could be low because they were improperly diluted. They could be low because the instrument wasn't performing well. There's all sorts of ways where we can generate additional flags, or they could be low because the new analyst is not properly doing the sample prep. But now you can see how we can take these powerful tables where we have the measurement data and the metadata combined to do feature engineering or to develop enhanced figures, and even more than what's in this notebook. If you want an idea of what else you could do, go visit that repository and look through some of the other notebooks, and you'll see multivariate analysis, you'll see machine learning, and I'll eventually be making videos on those topics as well. And so I hope you see how this is a true superpower. Being able to develop these data tables with the metadata enables so much more analysis. In any case, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.